Hello, friends. It's Dr. John WorldPeace coming to you from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Today is December the 3rd, 2023, and it's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Today's commentary is about Israel will be ended by its holocaust in Gaza, 23/1203, which is the date. Since 1948, the United States has allowed the Zionists to create a holocaust for the Palestinians that is unprecedented. What Russia has done in Ukraine is nothing compared to what Israel has been allowed to do in Gaza. What has happened in Gaza is nothing but a mass murder. In Ukraine, there are two armies fighting. In Gaza, you have a modern Zionist army killing men in street clothes with rifles. This is nothing but a slow slaughter of Palestinians in Gaza. And even though, with all the carnage foisted on the civilians, men, women, children, seniors, the United States under Joe Biden is talking now about sending more arms to Israel to increase their power to kill innocent Palestinians. There are many people protesting all over the world against the Zionist Holocaust in Gaza, but just like when George Bush went into Iraq, those protesters were just a loose mob with no leadership, no spokesman. All the organizations that support the Palestinian cause are very protective of their donor base and will not come together to present a united front against Joe Biden, the U.S. Congress and Senate to force him and them to end this Holocaust. Joe Biden is enforcing his legacy of 75 years of U.S. presidents and Congresses and Senates of allowing an unrelenting and ongoing mass murder of Palestinians by Zionists. For 1,400 years, the Palestinians possessed the land that the U.S. allowed the Zionists to unmercifully occupy and annex. It seems obvious to me that the Zionists believe they can take over Gaza, the West Bank, and all the land that was Palestine in 1948. There is no way the U.S. would have allowed this to happen except that the Zionists have paid off all the American politicians for the last 75 years. There are only about 6 million Jews in America out of 335 million Americans, most of whom profess to be Christians. How can 6 million Jews force America to turn a blind eye to the Zionist murders on the scale of the Nazis? In 8 weeks, the Zionists have displaced 2.3 million Gazans, starved all of them, denied them food and water and fuel and communication with the outside world, and the crimes against humanity by Zionists against Gaza goes on with just talk from Joe Biden. All the Muslim states in the Middle East fear challenging the U.S., and sit by and allow the Zionist Holocaust against the Palestinians to go forward. Except that is for Iran, who is demonized for challenging the Zionist Holocaust. What is happening in Gaza is what happened in India with Mahatma Gandhi and the British. The crimes against humanity, British against India, eventually came to a bad end. But in Gaza, there is no economic base for the Zionists to protect. In fact, they have made sure the Palestinians have not been able to build a functional economy. The Zionists want all of Palestine, all as in all there was in 1948. They want the Temple Mount so they can destroy the Dome of the Rock and Al-Aqsa Mosque. They want to drive every single Palestinian out of Palestine. They're not going to create a state that absorbs the Palestinians, and they're not going to allow a freestanding state of Palestine. Right now, Netanyahu and the radical right clerics believe this is their best chance to go for broke to consolidate all of 1948 Palestine into the nation of Israel. I will tell you that God has been harshly judging the Jews since they crucified Jesus in 30 CE. In 72 CE, God allowed the Romans to raise Jerusalem and Solomon's temple and drive the Zionists out of Israel. In 600 CE, God gave all the Zionist land to the Muslim through Muhammad under authority of Ishmael, the second son of Abraham. And in the 1930s and 40s, allowed the Nazis to exterminate 6 million Jews. No one can deny that God hates the Jews based on these 3 devastating acts against the Zionists. General George Marshall and others begged Truman not to support a Jewish homeland. He ignored them, and the crimes against humanity, the Zionists against the Palestinians, has been never-ending for 75 years. The Christian religion is in shambles. I've written a book on that coming ending. The third millennium, second Reformation of Christianity. The fundamental and evangelical preachers have made untold billions of dollars promoting the false book of Revelations. And most recently, they've renamed the Christian religion as Christian nationalism. The Catholic Church has an ongoing crime against young men by its priests, and even now subordinates women and keeps them out of the administration of the church. Rest assured that many convents are nothing but exclusive brothels for priests, bishops, and cardinals. So goes Israel, so goes American Christianity. Only the most blind person would ignore the oncoming wrath of God. There are 1.8 billion Muslims and 16 million Jews in the world. No doubt who God favors. My guess is that when the Zionists take over the Temple Mount, there will be a worldwide movement among Muslims to not just drive the Jews out of Jerusalem, but to exterminate the Jews worldwide. Once that process begins, it will not end until the Jews are wiped out of the world human society. Joe Biden has 1 month to step forward and put an end to all the Zionist bad acts. Biden has bloodied the hands of all Americans and spit upon the American Constitution with his support of Israel. The power of the United States has quashed any criticism of the Zionists for 75 years. He has forever marked America, the light of the world, and the chosen nation of God, such that it no longer possesses the moral high ground in the world human society. Joe Biden has everything that Trump has done, all of his corruption, his insurrection, do not equal the evil support by Biden for the Zionist holocaust in Gaza. I have come to believe that the Zionists knew that on October 7th, that the October 7th Hamas attack was coming. They did not know when. They have not denied the news of this in the last week. I believe they wanted it to happen so they would have an excuse to commit the evil they are committing presently in Gaza. I do not condone violence. I do not condone the October 7th Hamas attack. I do not condone the Zionist holocaust in Gaza, nor the 75 years of crimes against humanity foisted on the Palestinians by the Zionists. But the world human society is a violently predatory place, mostly for the pursuit of money and power. As the only advocate for Jesus Christ, for John 14:25, and as the only global advocate for peace in the world human society, I absolutely expect the Jews to experience their second diaspora as soon as the next year, from which they will never recover. The Jews think that their desire to build a theocracy like the one in Iran will come in earnest when they somehow take over and annex Gaza and then the rest of 1948 Palestine, including Jerusalem. I think that the atrocities that the world of nations, and especially the United States, have allowed the Jews to foist on the Palestinians will be the global end of the Jews. No evil to the degree the Zionists are exhibiting in Gaza has ever survived. 16 million Jews cannot survive a global 1.8 billion Muslim holocaust against them. If nothing more happens in Gaza, Joe Biden has destroyed the light of America as a force for good in a world human society. Trump tried to destroy America with a full-on frontal assault on the Constitution. Joe Biden came in the back door by allowing Zionists a free hand to create ongoing crimes against humanity in Gaza. America has survived Donald Trump. It will not overcome supporting the Zionist Holocaust in Gaza. If the Zionists succeed in Gaza, they will try to take over the West Bank and the Temple Mount before the November 24 elections in America. If Joe Biden does not immediately shut down Israel, he will not be president in November, and neither will Trump. Either election will create a crisis in America greater than the Civil War. And the only viable candidate for president is me, Dr. John WorldPeace JD. See my website below. This is how the U.S. presidential election in 24 will play out in next year. Again, a YouTube video is below. Let those who have eyes see and those who have ears hear. Dr. John WorldPeace. Thanks for your consideration. The apathy of Americans is mind-boggling. Yeah, there's a bunch of protests, but they do nothing. People get in their cars and they go to a location and they hold up signs and they march around and they go back home and have a beer or watch a football game or whatever. But unless there's one spokesman for the entire anti-Holocaust, Zionist Holocaust in Gaza, nothing's going to happen. Joe Biden is not going to attempt to talk to numerous peace groups. It's not the way government works. He's got the power of the entire United States behind him. He has to have one and only one focal point to talk to, and that focal point will communicate back to all of the other peace groups. If you don't do that, nothing will happen. Have a good day. Thanks for your consideration.